And I do believe I am live. Okay. Set my keyboard down. Well, back at it. I'm backed up to my old tricks, as promised yesterday, and as this briefly thought about in the week prior. I decided to poke around a little bit more at N+. I've been meaning to get more puzzle platformer and puzzle stuff in general in my diet, so I think I'll just pick up right where I left off. Yeah, flexed my fingers a few seconds before the episode, so hopefully it won't be too cringy. And away we go. Alright, one moment. Alright, back at it. I already have no idea what I'm doing. But that's part of the fun of this game. Boom. Okay. Think I see what I got to do there. Alright. So while I'm thinking about that, and trying to... Oh, wow. I love the ragdolls in this game. Oh, something to pull up on the side. While I'm trying to wrap my head around this and not splatter it all over the map, a little bit more in current events I didn't get to yesterday because I was too busy, admittedly, kind of fawning over the SNES Classic. Wow, that was ill thought. Yeah, so apparently Hugh Hefner's dead. Doesn't mean a lot to me. I never really went for Playboy, but yeah. Seems like... See, I don't know what to say about that. Why did I even write that down? Oh, man. But hearing that he died, that was kind of surprising. He's like a pop culture icon. I mean, I guess for what his publication was, if for no other reason. Oh, wait a sec. Where's my... Oh, sorry. I had the chat messed up. Okay. Hello, King Thunder. Okay, got the chat fixed. Yeah, that game over screen for Total Distortion. I need to look up when that game was made, because that was well, that was more than a tad bizarre. I can't think of a single other game over screen that's that trippy. That's great. Okay. Yeah, I've got to get into the habit of looking up the games more as I view these little tidbits about them too, so I have a little bit more to say than holy wow, that was crazy. All right, let's see. Yep, and get somewhere a little safer. All right. Boom. All right, thank you. 1995 for PC and Mac. Ah, boy. And Evergrace, another game that I've heard of and never looked into. I didn't get enough into RPGs earlier on. Probably kind of something I really should have done more of. Most of the RPGs that I got into are like the really mainstream stuff. You know, pretty much almost entirely Final Fantasy. And okay, this is tricky. And whoop. See if I can find my way over to the door. Guide my descent. Ooh. Okay, so yeah, RPGs. Most of the stuff I've played was Square Enix. It's kind of unfortunate, really. I can't help but feel I've missed a lot of good gems by that. Legend of Dragoon comes to mind. I didn't really play it, and I can't remember who made it, but, you know, there you go. So Evergrace is one that slipped under my radar. I mean, it's one of the ones that I'd heard a name and didn't really see anything. Dimension hopping to find material to make music videos. And that's an interesting concept. Let's see, write that down. Take a quick... Oh, there go some notes. Huh. I still have paper on standby though, so no biggie. And, okay, where was I? And point and click, if it is a point and click game, is even less likely that I played it, which is really sad because I started a little bit of Myst. I got my hands on a PlayStation copy a while back. I no longer own it. Only one that I really think that I put a lot of time into was a Sam and Max one, and can't remember which one it was, what part of it, or how far I got. I didn't get in very far. I mean, admittedly, I only remember one line. The shop clerk in there, as you leave his shop, saying, "Don't take any wooden nickels." Or any real ones, too. Oh, whoa, okay. Jump! Okay. Ooh, my tracking's a little off. So, while I'm thinking about that, there are a lot of RPGs that I really need to get back to. And one of them, and, you know, kind of getting back into old habits, I haven't played through Final Fantasy X in forever. It was one of my favorites, if you can even really call it an RPG. I have to say it's kind of on the linear side, but, you know, it's a pretty good game. I love that game. Yeah. In spite of the infamous laughing scene. Okay. Okay. I think I got this! Boom! And Devil May Cry, that's another series I might have to power through on stream at some point. I mean, having the collection and just sitting on it doesn't make much sense. Okay. Crap. Okay, where's the other? Okay. Let's see. And I never, speaking of Devil May Cry, I never really got to feel much for Virgil, because he didn't exactly feature prominently in the first two. So, about the only play experience I have with Virgil is in Marvel vs. Capcom. Oh. Ooh. Okay, sorry. A little bit distracted, yeah. Okay, yeah, Shenmue. Yeah, there's something I like in far too few games have this. Where you have... You mentioned Shenmue and having the Space Harrier arcade cabinet in there. And not a lot of games have the little full older games or full separate games inside of chunks inside of the main game. Trying to think of other examples. I think Tekken 5 with having that Tekken collection and that one space shooter thing in there. And Grand Theft Auto... Ooh, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas having some stuff in there. I think that'd really help a lot of games, you know, have a little something. It's like, I want to take my hands off of what I'm playing for a few minutes, you know, get a little brief change of pace, play this other little mini experience, and then get back to the main game. I think it'd be great. I mentioned... Oh, crap. I mentioned last time I was playing this game that I kind of want to get back into Game Maker Studio, because I'm only barely functional at it. I couldn't make a full game with it. Yes, thank you, Tekken 5, the Devil Within mode. I never got very far in that one, I did not remember it. But then again, I'm not the one who owns that game. My brother owns that one, so I need to pick that one back up. I think the only Tekken games I own copies of are 3 and Tag Tournament 2. Why am I taking that above? Okay. But yeah, that's something that more games need, is a little game inside of a game thing. And I was thinking, if I get back into Game Maker, of making a Legend of Zelda style, you know, top-down hack and slash thing. Oh crap. Dead. And maybe making like a town hub where you can like play some little mini games. I'd have to figure out how to code those, so you know, guess a little exercise to stretch my figurative legs in Game Maker. Oh, this one's gonna keep me stumped for a minute. But interesting that Tekken should come into this this conversation, because I believe it was Namco, Ted, who did something different with to the detriment of the gaming community. I believe they were the ones who stopped that whole loading screen games. Sorry, distracted by jibs. Li Chaolan. I have not had enough play experience with him. I tended to lean more toward... who is it all? Kazuya, Brian Fury, a little bit of Warong. Got pretty good with Kazuya for a while. Brian, not so much, but I had fun playing him. Alright. Crazy, deranged Interpol agent. Gone Universal Soldier or whatever. Ooh. The original Tekken Tag Tournament. I gotta stop jumping over those by default. Okay. Okay. I remember playing just about all of the Tekken games, except I don't believe I played 6. And I remember the step from Tekken 3 to 4 being pretty good, but 4 felt more like a sideways step for me. Gameplay-wise, it seemed to be an improvement, but I don't know, something about it didn't sit very well with me. Of course, that's skipping over Tag Tournament entirely, and it was fun having that little trilogy game there to... Ooh, am I gonna actually make it this time? To kind of just... I don't know, like the fighting game equivalent of a sandbox to me. Yeah, I could see Raven being a not-so-subtle jab at Team Ninja. As a matter of fact, that would totally be up their alley. Yeah, Tekken 4 felt like a sideways step. Tekken 5 felt like a massive improvement almost all around to me. I loved the cinematic intro. I don't even remember the one for Tekken 4. I mean, just... it happened, it was a thing, but I don't remember it at all. Okay. Ew. Where am I with this? Okay. Careful. And wow. This one's not so hard, it's just time consuming. Whoop. Oh, there goes. Tekken Advance. I'm trying to remember more than screenshots about it. I don't recall it being anything more than a GBA port of Tekken 3, maybe with like a couple of additional features. I don't remember if it was canon or not. If I get a if I get a GBA again, I wouldn't mind picking that game up. Because I never got the chance to play... Ooh, never got a chance to play it. Thanks for reminding me, the switch boxes for the Dreamcast. I took a quick moment to look those up. Mentioned them. You mentioned them yesterday on stream. I looked those things up. Sadly, they're not making any more till like November. So, ooh, wrong way. So I won't be able to pick one up for myself for a little while. But considering I wasn't planning on buying a Dreamcast until like early next year anyway, that kind of saves me a little bit of time for planning. They look nice. I mean, to be handcrafted, they look really nice. Right. Yeah, I got the Bihar Brothers website bookmarked for just that reason. And having more systems hooked up at the same time without having to switch them around, always an advantage, always a plus. I need to work on something like that for my Elgato. Currently, my setup has... I have one of those multi-system component cables hooked up to my PS3. I can use that between my PS3 and PS2. And for my PS4 and 360, I have an HDMI cable. If I get bored enough to play my SNES Classic, look some stuff there up, then I can use the HDMI for that. And yes, I saw the whispers about Janeway and her irresponsible leadership. Wow. Let's see. Is that whisper still there? The one about the Borg. Yeah, my laptop chugs along a little bit, so this might take a moment. Well, while I'm waiting to see if that loads... Ooh. Okay. Let's see. Okie dokie. Okay. Now, the Borg one, I can't remember the number of the alien race they fought. It's funny, because I have a friend I mentioned yesterday in stream who... His dad really, really hates Janeway as a captain. And the two things I was messaged, and thanks again, King Thunder, for doing so, were about some of her more irresponsible escapades. And... Ew. Okay, out of line. Ooh. First one, let's see if I can remember this, because I don't think the whisper's there for some reason. I'm gonna have to double check it. Whoa, okay. Okay, so they wind up with the Voyager in Borg space. Correct me if I'm wrong. And the Borg are fighting an alien race that they basically just named with a number. That was a bad move. It's like 8479 or something. And the Borg are losing miserably. And so Janeway gives them what's effectively a nuke to take care of the situation in exchange for getting out of their space. Great job, Janeway. One of the biggest threats to humanity, and you give them a really, really big gun. Figuratively speaking. I'm like... Okay, I didn't watch enough Star Trek to really know a lot about the deep lore, but I know you don't deal with the Borg if you can at all get out of it, so... Does that count as a Pyrrhic victory, what she did, giving them something that could be that catastrophically dangerous to other races? Because she won, but there's no telling how long that's going to take to come back to bite them. And the other thing you mentioned, I forgot about Neelix and Tuvok entirely in Voyager. I remember watching a little bit of the original Star Trek movie and the teleporter failure scene. So, seeing those two get into a teleporter and shenanigans ensuing, yeah, that, ooh, I guess I could have gotten that switch. Okay, it's unfortunate for them, but they, in a sense, created a new life, making Tuvix. I guess they took the naming conventions straight out of Dragon Ball. Wonder what their name would have been if they went with a Patara instead of the fusion dance. But yeah, so rather than, you know, actually respect the wishes of the new life, they just decide, yeah, let's throw them back in there. And it's like, yeah, let's get our old crew back. So she commits murder at the expense of these two other, well, at this one other, at this point, living entity. That's great. That's Janeway in a nutshell. She's horrible. So I can kind of see why that friend of mine, why his dad really hates Janeway. If that's just par for the course for her, then yeah, that makes sense. Okay. But yeah, I don't know many of the captains in Star Trek. I mean, obviously Kirk and Picard. Who doesn't know who Kirk and Picard are? Don't know anything about Deep Space Nine. Haven't watched a single episode. I know a little bit about, there was another captain named Pike. I saw him in like the first episode of Classic, and then he just like disappeared, and I never saw him in another episode because I only watched 6 eps. Too high. So, really small sample size of captains. Yeah. Want to say I can't say who my favorite captain is. I think the best captain of them, I would almost say, is Picard, because he tries to stay so close to the Prime Directive, but my favorite one remains Kirk because he's just so crazy. You just do what the hell ever he wants. Yeah. But that's just an opinion. Yeah. There. Oh, yes, thank you. The Borg in that instant. Yeah, I forgot about the fact that they started that war. Yeah, I knew I'd missed something in there. But yeah, so the Borg start stuff, and she finishes it in their favor. I keep watching the part. She finishes it in their favor in the most horrible way possible. That's a great job, Janeway. I don't know. But without seeing that episode, I can't think of anything else she could have done other than, you know, take the hit, and that admittedly probably would have been better for everyone. Oh, this one's gonna be a sticking point for a second. Bouncy. And I forgot that this game had a level editor as well. And before starting the stream... Oh, I've got to stop tuning out at that point. Before starting the stream, I checked to see if my level that I made was there. I forgot that I had made 2. And they are both still there. And if I play this game again, I'll probably fire both of those up just to... Ooh. Too high on the ramp. I'm supposed to jump over the ramp. Probably fire those levels up just to see if I can even complete my own stuff. Ah, meant to hit the ramp. But yeah, as far as Star Trek stuff goes, I don't really see a lot of the actors. I mean, trying to think how to put this. I see a lot of the actors of Classic still doing stuff. You know, James Doohan, of course, being dead. Oh, maybe botched that one. James Doohan's dead. DeForest Kelly's dead. Like, half the crew's dead. Leonard Nimoy lost him, like, in the last year. Really sad. Yeah. A little less so with, like, Next Generation. A lot of them still doing things, even if it's, like, not a lot of stuff on screen. But I don't know as many of them as I really should. Liked Will Wheaton. He had his own little nerd talk show for a while. Okay. Okay, whoa. But Voyager? How many of those people are still doing stuff? I'm going to have to look that up on IMDb. Oh, wow. Janeway taking revenge against the Borg. You know, I have a hard time imagining that she could do that, but just because of how incredibly inept and irresponsible that is, I have a very easy time imagining that she would. Okay. Oh, man. That's... Why does that just scream death or glory to me, that she would do that? Yeah, she's playing with time travel at this point, and runs the risk of giving Borg even more irresponsible technology. Great job, Janeway. And never mind if they should discover how she were to time travel in the first place, if that was somehow stored in the ship's logs, you know, then basically all of existence is screwed. If they decide there's a practical reason for them to go back in time. So basically, her irresponsibility runs the risk of condemning the entire universe. I can't recall clearly a time when Kirk or Picard did something that stupid. So, I'll defer to expert opinions on that one. You almost missed that. That would have been bad. And on another non-Star Trek note, I've mentioned piracy a few times in this series, and you know, it always strikes me as a curiosity because I'm not gonna lie about it. I have pirated games before. It's not something I do now because I'm a little bit more patient than when I was when I was a kid, and I work on getting legit copies of any games that I did pirate. Hence why I've wound up with like 4 copies of Unreal Tournament 3. I've got like 2 copies of the first Halo. Things like that. But yeah, I saw a report on some gaming websites. Apparently it was a suppressed report out of the European Union that... I'm stammering over my words. That apparently they said that in some region... I wish I'd wrote down a little more detail. That because of piracy, game sales were up, in part of the EU at least, by 24%. Can't say I'm surprised. And the reason I'm not surprised is demos. Anyone who's played gaming for a good long time is probably familiar with the fact that demos aren't really a thing anymore. They used to be a big thing. I mean, who can't remember opening a PlayStation magazine or EGM or something and pulling out like a disc with a bunch of games and stuff on there to just play around with? I mean, aside from PC game magazines, I mean, does that even happen anymore? Demos are few and far between. Devs used to do that, they'd put the demos out, and there's some stuff that they'd put in there that's like really rare now and couldn't be played outside of the demo. And it was great. It's really golden. It's like great advertising for games. And now, because you don't have demos, and there's people who aren't patient enough, you know, I mean, piracy is always going to be a thing. There's no avoiding that. If there is a product, someone will try to steal it or find a way to steal it. But I hate to defend piracy. I mean, I just admitted that I've done it before, but I hate to defend it. But honestly, that report doesn't surprise me, because honestly, I think piracy would be down if there were more demos. Yeah. Doesn't make it right. Oh, what? Crap. Doesn't make it right, but it's one of the reasons I'm trying to buy the games that I get. Make sure I get all of the games that I ever really pirated. Got most of them, I want to say, because I wasn't like a big time pirate, like grab every single game I could get my hands on. That'd just be stupid. But on a loosely related note, in like DVDs and stuff, they have that little ad in a lot of them that say, "You wouldn't download a car, would you?" Okay, with 3D printing becoming more of a thing, that's actually a legitimate question now. Alright. Yes, back to remote control dandy again. Yeah, that... I can't help but feel more games like that would get even more attention if more demos were made available. And you mentioned that there's a demo disc with stuff on that. That'd almost be worth looking up. I'm pretty sure it'd probably bankrupt me. Some of those demo discs are really expensive. Crap. This is going to be tricky. Ah, crap. A little too close for comfort. Come on. Oh, I didn't think he was going to go that way. Yeah. And obviously there are still demos around, but I'm trying to remember like the last demo disc game that I've played. And I want to say it was an Ape Escape game way, way back. In spite of the fact that I'm sitting on a copy of Zone of the Enders, which comes with a Metal Gear Solid 2 demo. Which I don't really need to play that demo because I own Metal Gear Solid 2. I own all of the core Metal Gear Solid games up until 4, and... oh, crap. I don't have a physical copy of Ground Zeroes, but got it for free on Xbox. And I don't have 5 at all. So, a little bit of a Metal Gear fan. Where was I with this? Oh, this is going to be fun. And I'm going to have to play Metal Gear Solid 5, which is apparently free for PS Plus subscribers this month. I'm currently not, so I don't know if I'll wind up getting that. I just want to play it to hear how Snake's voice performance is in that game. They changed him to Kiefer Sutherland, which I'm told came as a surprise to Hayter, who originally voiced Snake, David Hayter. And while Hayter did kind of strike me as a bit campy in his role, I always liked David Hayter. His gruff voice seemed a wee bit forced to me, but I always saw him as Snake. He didn't like just seem out of place. Okay. Another good point. back to good retro gaming stuff. Brazil, I did not know that they still officially make games for it. When I see official games for consoles from like Master System and SNES, I see the occasional like indie project or something that's like been years in the making. But to see like a legit full market for it, didn't know. That's pretty awesome. But if I had to guess, it's because of like the ridiculous tax situation they have for like the newer consoles. Because I know the newer stuff costs like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars more than it does in most other territories. Like huge import taxes to the point where you're paying like well over $1,000. I think I saw like over 2K in one system's case. So makes sense that they would continue making games for Master System in Brazil. It's an unfortunate situation for them, but hopefully those games will endure a bit. Oh crap. Those games will be able to endure and find an audience in other territories and make the developers some decent cash on the back of that circumstance. Yeah. I need to look up that fighting game that recently released on Super Nintendo. A couple months ago, a new Super Nintendo fighting game released. 6 characters in it, but I can't remember for the life of me what the name of it is. Wish I'd thought of that before the stream. I would have looked it up. Get a little bit more info on it. Ooh. But yeah. Just thinking though that it's not even just the homebrew scene making these kind of games. And I'm kind of hoping that in the near future the homebrew scene on Saturn will pick up. I don't know if there is one, considering the fact that if the info that I've seen is to be believed, they don't really have mod chips for it. The unique copy protection with the outer ring of the discs having that little squiggle on it. I watched a lengthy video from a guy who's found a way to circumvent that for the most part. Made a little card to slip into the back video port of the thing. There's like a expansion port on there. Very interesting stuff. A little bit deeper than I think my understanding of electronics probably could go, but sounds like he's doing really good work. The video was dated 2016, I believe. And if I can remember to, when posting this on YouTube, I'll try and post an annotation or something with the link, because it's interesting stuff to me. The guy's ultimate goal being to make it where you can either A, load games from USB, ooh, that's messy, or load stuff into a hard drive that replaces the failing CD-ROM drive. Alright. Atari Jaguar. There's a system, another system I've never actually had my hands on. But it was a pretty powerful system, as I recall. If there's a homebrew scene for it, I wouldn't mind looking it up. Yeah, the account of Larry Bundy Jr. on YouTube, he has a lot of video gaming facts, and a lot of the times he actually comes back to the Atari Jaguar and Atari in general. The guy's British. And okay, you know, I keep forgetting to look up Frame Guide and Rise from the Ashes. I am putting that on my to-do list right immediately with getting Twitter and such up, because I want to have that handled. I don't want to keep saying, oh no, I forgot. I'm taping this note to my monitor PC. Alright, And there. Yeah, I am taping that to my PC. I will definitely look those up after this stream, because I keep forgetting it and putting it off, and procrastination is something I have long since determined is going to be the death of me. Hence why I started the stream when I did to begin with. Procrastination's always been kind of a weak point of mine. Procrastination and forgetfulness. Okay, I think I'm about to the halfway point of where I originally stopped playing this game. Okay. Whoop. See, where was I going? Aside from shilling someone else's YouTube channel. Okay. Because I actually have a physical to-do list for this week. And I don't know that I'm going to get all of my videos uploaded, but I at least want to upload one. Probably two. Just like the first two videos, just so I can get the content online to actually stay. Ooh, let him... Oh, oh, that didn't work. So, since I will need time while the videos are uploading, I can get that started, look up Frame Gride and Gundam Side Stories, especially the release info. I want to know when and where they came out entirely. Oh, slower jumps. Okay. Oh, this is going to be a time consumer. And Frame Gride, it had my attention, I think, the most of the two. Rise from the Ashes, I believe that was the first-person one, which it looked really interesting too. But Frame Gride, the one-on-one combat thing, not enough mecha fighting games either. All I can think of right off the top of my head are I think Cyberbots, and I think there was like a Metabots game on Game Boy Color. I'm sure there's several more that I'm just completely forgetting. It all comes back to mecha in the end. Whoa! Ooh, and here is the hard one. I probably should have started with it first. Okay, and slow, careful ascent. Ah! Techromancer, thank you. Alright. Another Dreamcast title, if I recall. And another reason for me to get the Dreamcast. I seem to remember that being a Dreamcast title and me seeing like an ad for it in EGM and thinking, oh my god, I want a Dreamcast now. And sadly, I have still never owned a Dreamcast. In spite of so many good games on it. You know. Seaman and the like. Ah! Ah, Seaman. That game looks creepy as hell. Oh, okay, I deserved that one. But it looks to be the best kind of creepy. Yes, Evangelion, more mecha. There is a series. I have watched that series all of one time. The ending for that series killed it for me, but everything leading up to it was just great. I loved the overwhelming majority of that series, and I can't remember the ending enough to say why it was so off-putting. But I own that series. It's like, I think, one of the only full series that I own. Which is sad, because I really, really need to pick up Outlaw Star. And Cowboy Bebop and Trigun. So an Evangelion Smash Brothers clone. I'm not going to pretend to know how that would work, but it's certainly curious. There's a formula there that hasn't really been copied often enough, or at least not to any degree of success. The oh man, the battle platformer, the action kind of platform fighter. I keep flubbing that jump. There's a free game on Steam, as I recall, by the name Brawlhalla. I played a few minutes of it. Felt a little bit bare bones, but has a lot of characters to it, and you know, felt like they were taking strides to make a solid, approachable game out of it. Okay, Hideaki Kamiya. I'm going to have to look up who that is. I recognize that name. Alright. Here's hoping I can do it without killing a tab. Okay. Alright, let's see. I recognize that face. Platinum Games. Okay. I'm letting my timer just burn away while looking up that guy. I guess it kind of makes sense that Castlevania would be a pretty high game on their list. Those are really good games for their time. The older ones were great action platformers, and oh, I did not know that was his favorite game. Castlevania 1. I wonder if the NES Classic has that on there. I don't remember its games list. Yeah, when it comes out next year, I might have to look it up. Yeah, for a reason to own an original copy of Mario Brothers 3. Oh. Because that was one of my favorite platformers ever, but I only ever had it on Super Mario Brothers All-Stars. Okay, Kamiya, the founder of Platinum Games. Okay, that's why I recognize that face. That's why I remember seeing him around so much. It also makes Bayonetta make even more sense. Oh. For him to have worked on Devil May Cry and founded that game company. I mean, literally the only game that I can think of that has bad reviews from them is that Ninja Turtles game. Everything else that I've seen that they have done is they just got like the Midas touch of video gaming. Everything they do, well, Midas didn't turn things into platinum, so ooh boy. And while I'm thinking of developers and craziness, I have yet to see, with the whole PlayerUnknown's Battleground fiasco that they've got going on right now, with Epic Games basically copying their formula as directly as they possibly could. Oh, crap. The originator of that Battleground... this one's going to take a while. The originator of Battleground, what he has to say about the whole thing, if, what's his name, Brendan Green, has anything to say. Yeah, Platinum, yeah. King Midas would have been miserable still, but he'd have been way, way richer. But yeah, I wouldn't have thought Epic would be the ones to boost someone else's formula, and admittedly, the idea of a Battle Royale game just... Oh, crap, I was expecting it to go lower. The idea of a Battle Royale game, not the most original thing, but, you know, they did good with it at PlayerUnknown, I'm told. I've never played it. It doesn't look like something I would really be interested in. But, yeah, seeing big companies copying stuff that directly and then nothing's coming of it yet? Oh. But then again, I don't know what Epic's deal is as a whole anyway, because they also had the Too Human fiasco where, God, what was it? I think the developer of Too Human was saying they were receiving inadequate support and was blaming Epic for their game being bad or something, and I'm going to have to look that up again, because it wound up in making another Rare game, but for the Xbox 360. I remember playing a demo, and wishing I still had that demo. Oh, crap. Okay, let's see. 2 more pits. Tints. I should have slid down a little more. It's almost sad there's not a market for Rare 360 demos, but, you know, that'd be kind of hard to distribute, so... I don't know. So now I kind of want to look up a price tag on Too Human, because it was a game that I actually did want to play in spite of the tepid reviews it got. By all accounts, I hear it was not a great game, but by no means terrible. And it didn't... Oh, right there. Mechagodzilla. Sadly, I know almost nothing of kaiju. I know enough to know that the giant monsters from Toho are called kaiju, and I can name like a very small handful of them. Unfortunately, I don't know enough about kaiju as a whole to really say my favorite design there. Okay, Metal Wolf Chaos. Is that the one... trying to think. I seem to remember a mecha game that one of the playable characters was the President of the United States, and he was piloting a mech. If I'm not mistaken, that would be that game. Okay. Oh, down. Okay. Otogi, yes, I have heard of them, don't know anything about those. Murakumo Renegade Mech Pursuit. I would be surprised if that was not an Armored Core spin-off. I mean, Murakumo being right there in the name, but, you know. Oh, I am so going to fail this for time. Alright. Not enough gold. Alright, thank you. I did remember Metal Wolf Chaos. I didn't know it only came out in Japan. I think the only other FromSoft game that I'm really familiar with having played... Oh, wow, I did not notice the time. Is Tenchu 2 Stealth Assassins on PS1. I remember it had a level creator thing. It was... I think I'm going to have to call it in a moment on this. That level creator was fun, trying to create impenetrable fortresses to challenge your friends with, distribute them like on memory cards. Okay, so Murakumo Renegade Mech Pursuit not being an Armored Core spin-off. Okay. I'm a little bit surprised by that, but yeah. Okay, 5 more attempts, and then I'm going to have to call it. Because it is closing in on time. Probably going to call it a little early on this one because I am dying. But the Tenchu games, I think the thing I was most infatuated with, interestingly enough, was the music. Because I remember playing the game a bunch so that I could learn how to play the intro cinematic... Oh, there's one. Intro cinematic music on a little cheap keyboard that I got in some yard sale stuff. And as with everything else in life, I never learned how to read sheet music, so I was just playing it by ear. And I didn't know until about a week ago that the Tenchu franchise is actually still around. I think, what was it? Tenchu Z, if I recall. I'm sure there's a Super Saiyan Ninja joke in there somewhere. I'm not gonna make it. Had enough of that with Naruto. Ooh. Naruto. Old habits. I took Japanese classes. I should know better than that by now. Okay. Slip. Oh. I think that's 4. I was not paying enough attention. I do not think I'm going to finish this. I don't have the time. Okay. One more round. One more round. Okay. I think the thing that's holding me back in this game is not prioritizing gold any more than I have. Oh, there we go. And that's it. Oh, boy. I actually got past this level at some point. I have the thing... I have the time listed over the top of these levels to prove that I did. Well, to prove that someone did, but I'm going to say me. Because, you know, I can't prove that it was me. Where was it? Or just leave off. 14. Okay, don't know that I'll come back to this game on stream anytime soon, but I will be coming back to Armored Core next Saturday. 4 o'clock sharp, like I have been for the past several weeks. Sunday may or may not be Armored Core again, but Saturday when I come back, I'm going to have Twitter info on the front page of my channel, because I want to be able to tweet out the games that I have in advance and not just be like, surprise, here's what I'm playing on the day that I'm playing it, you know. So, wow, I'm actually calling it like about a minute early. So yeah, I do have priorities for the week. Specifically, I want to upload a couple episodes to YouTube, fix the title card where it shows some of the tools I used to make this stream, and Twitter, of course, and look up more info on Frame Gride and Gundam side stories. I'm going to have to look up someone's Let's Play on those, because I want to watch more than like 30 seconds from like a trailer or something. But that is for during the week, and thank you for the various bits of trivia and showing me how underwhelming my level of retro gaming knowledge is. I can definitely appreciate that. More info, the better. Because I always appreciate having more to talk about. And I will be... With that, I will be signing off, and I will be back next week, Saturday, 4 o'clock sharp, with more Armored Core. So, you take it easy, and I'm going to go do things that don't involve me knocking back as much aspirin as I can to get the idea of Janeway being awful out of my head. Ooh. Janeway truly is the worst captain. And now my keyboard's wanting me. Ah, here we go. Now I can sign off. Yeah. Okay, well, with all that said, take it easy, and I'll see you next time.